Does a ring define a woman's worth? Or it is just everyone else's scoreboard? Who really decides when a woman should marry? Her heart, her family, or a culture with one eye on the clock? And when a simple conversation with a man turns into a storm, is it about her voice or his reaction? Is marriage a milestone or just one option on a bigger map? Is marriage truly the ultimate achievement that society often touts it to be? As we get into today's intriguing question, come sit with me and decide for yourself. This isn't about proving anyone wrong. It is about owning your right to choose what's best for you. Only on Hello Delly, where the conversation starts with a question and ends with your freedom. Stay tuned. Hello, my wonderful, delicious family. You've tuned into Hello Delly, the space where your stories are heard, your experiences are valued, and your journey supported with care, confidentiality, and compassion. Before we journey into today's unfolding tale, let us pause and in stillness ponder on the wisdom in today's quote. The beauty of life lies in our ability to choose, yet each choice carries a consequence. Make informed choices that will guide you towards a tomorrow you hope for. And of course, that quote was brought to you by Delly Singah, Cameroonian author, counselor, and TV host.
Hello, 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 audience, Delly. Hello, hello, tune in now, no delay, no delay, no delay. Hello, Delly.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Just about time for us to get into our story for tonight, which comes from a young woman who carries the weight of two worlds. She writes, "Greetings, Mommy Delly. Thank you for this platform. I'm 27 years old and currently doing my master's program and also employed. I was planning to settle down as my mother keeps telling me not to cross 30 before I get married, and that no single woman at that age is respected. And if I don't marry now, it will be difficult for me to get a husband. Well, I have two guys currently on my case, but I've really not paid attention to them. The truth is, I am more of a career-oriented person, and it's not as if I don't want marriage, I just don't see it as an achievement. Recently, I met a man who seemed interested in me and the feelings were mutual. All was going on fine until one day he called me and started arguing about a video we watched on Facebook regarding marriage. It was about what do women bring to the table. I said, we are the table, and he got angry. He started saying anyone who claims they are the table is just lazy and knows nothing about marriage. That most women don't contribute anything apart from beauty. So I asked him what got him attracted to me if he thinks I can't contribute anything, and he said he wanted to see if I can be his wife, but from my arguments, I'm not even ready to be a wife. That conversation ended like that, and since that day, he has been avoiding to pick my calls. Since then, that desire to get married has quenched, and I have been asking myself if it is a must, and what can I do to convince my mother that marriage is not for everyone, or I will get married at my own time. Please hide my ID." Well, thank you so much for trusting this platform and for opening up your heart so vulnerably. I honor your courage because healing and clarity begins with honesty. My role here, like I always say, is not only to counsel you, but to uphold a mirror so you can see your case for what it truly is and beyond excuses and into the reality that shapes your future. What I share with you today will be rooted in the facts that you have presented. Of course, I'm going to make some assumptions and fill in the blank spaces because, of course, you are not here, to do that. It is my hope that this counsel will not only meet your expectations, but also empower you with the clarity, confidence you need in this season of your life. After the break, we'll begin with peeling the layers of this case and hopefully we attain the desirable results. Don't touch that dial.
With MoneyFX, sending money home just got faster. Enjoy top exchange rates, low fees, and transfers that land in under 10 minutes. Whether it's school fees in Cameroon, hospital bills in Nigeria, or family support in Ghana, MoneyFX makes every transfer count. MoneyFX, fast money transfer when it matters most.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Just about that time for us to delve into the nitty-gritties of our analysis. So we have a young woman at her prime caught between choosing her career over being bothered about marriage. Then again, we have a parent bothered about her daughter's delay in getting married. And of course, a boyfriend that wants more than just a beautiful face. So let's start off with the mother. The first thing is the mother is pressuring her daughter for marriage. And this could be seen in two ways. Deliberately pressuring you like most mothers would do. They want grandkids and they couldn't care less about the battles that you are fighting that they know nothing about. Most especially if you're a firstborn or a first daughter, it really gets dicey. In that case, she's not meant to pressurize you with her deadline. That is if you've truly not had a suitor. Because again, like I said, parents go out, they pressurize you. Sometimes we see it as a selfish reason, but again, it could also be seen as a mother's love for her daughter, knowing fully well what time presents, especially to women as far as marriage is concerned. Or again, like I said, we could look at it from the other angle of she is genuinely caring about you. She just wants you to change your perception about men and marriage. Your mother has been your age and of course clearly understands the challenges of that age group. So yes, timing is a factor, especially if you're overly picky, and that's why she's worried. So I do not want us to just look at mommy is pressuring me. No, where is the pressure coming from? On one hand, her not understanding your battles, and on the other hand, she is actually doing the needful. The next thing mommy says is, you will soon turn 30 and society does not respect single women. My big laugh on this, I want to scream at the top of my voice because there's something about this 30 thing. People have repeated 29 for 5 years just because they do not want to step into 30. Most women are 29, they keep being 29. What is your age? 29. Just because of these stereotypes, you do not have to get into 30. And hey, we're going to talk about all the societal constructs that come alongside with it. I just wanted us to laugh a bit about this 30 because we have had this conversation so many times. But again, something very crucial that mommy said, respect, that women over 30 and single really don't have respect. See, given the background we come from, we cannot run away from these stereotypes. Okay, these constructs are real, and as much as we try to dispel them, we can only do so much. Societal constructs are not completely bad, except in extreme cases, like I always say. And if these constructs tally with truth, oh well, I like to think that it's okay. But let me say this. The society respects and disrespects everyone. It is really, because at the end of the day, it's not just about whether you're married or not. You could be single and you attract so much respect based off of the other virtues you have amassed. And as well as you could be married and attract a lot of disrespect. Being single and successful in other aspects could attract some level of respect. And some married people may never have. Respect flows from integrity, not status. A careless married woman loses respect faster than a single, dignified one. And I want that to sink into every woman listening to me. A careless married woman loses respect faster than a single, dignified woman. Look around you and you see so many of these examples we're talking about. Your mom would rather have a single and healthy daughter at 30 than a mentally unstable married daughter at 20. So let's strike this balance, because yes, it is very important. How difficult is it for a woman to get married after 30? Of course, society would fixate these numbers: 20, 30, 25, 40, and of course, blinds parents from considering the well being of their children. While it might be difficult to find a suitable spouse at that age, it is not impossible. So let's make this clear. Like I said, it's important for us to strike these balances. What matters most is your readiness, maturity, and a suitable companion that befits your purpose. So that again, we are not pressured into wanting to get into an institution that is very, very delicate as marriage. Marrying right at 35 is far better than marrying wrong at 20. So we've touched on the mother side. There's a whole other things we could look at it from, but again, let's keep at it and get to the boyfriend side of the story. What do you bring to the table? This is what this boyfriend asks. What do you bring to the table? Now, this is quite an interesting question, which is often, asked by men who do not know what they want, or it is responded, on the other hand, by women who are very emotional. Now, this question technically is about roles and responsibilities. Now, this question is very important and exposes a lot. While I personally, I don't mind the question, as it is a no-brainer to me, I have some concerns about it. The real issue is not even about the answer, it is the question in itself. In many cases, the men who are asking this question are the very ones with little to offer. They deflect from the focus and then they push it on the women while their own table is empty. Now, I'm not saying everyone, majority, all say for the most part, the men who insist on what do you bring to the table and then they stand to listen are usually the ones with empty tables. But hey, like I said, this question is very important. So if you truly know the woman you're interested in, you should already see that what she carries. You should already be able to vet it even without her saying it. You should be able to scan, because again, anybody can say things they bring to the table, whereas they do not really possess those values. So it is of your interest to be able to vet and to be able to scan and see if truly she carries the things that you need. So asking the questions suggests you haven't been paying attention, clearly, because you wouldn't need to ask her. This is why courtship is important. Not just to put someone on trial, but to explore synergy, to see how two lives can align and complement each other. So I was saying that if a man is keen, you will be able to see without being told that a woman has everything to bring to the table. It is important for the man to be the first to answer this question. Why? Because the man is the leader. It is proven by leadership, stability, and vision. Meaning that the man who is the leader is meant to set the standards. He is first to answer the question, and then the woman is meant to see if he can be the helpmate. So the man is meant to say, this is what I present, this is who I am, this is what I bring to the table, this is the vision I have. Marriage is about two people coming to this table, having roles and responsibilities. But then again, what matters most is the respect, the love, the responsibilities that both of them bring and both of them share. So it's a union is about combining the strengths and not competing for who carries more weight. So again, you did mention that this discussion sparked up an argument. Now, it was an argument and not a dialogue, which led into an unplanned conversation. These are not topics that we jump into randomly. It looks like without the video you two watched, you won't think of having a proper dialogue. These are conversations to be had intentionally and purposefully. This is how you truly discover each one's strength and your weaknesses. Now, the true essence of courtship is to know your partner, to vet their mindset and decide if they are a huge red flag or this is somebody I love to say I do it. So it has to be a tete-a-tete conversations, deliberately asking your partner questions, and of course, taking note of their responses. So the next thing is the boyfriend is avoiding your calls based off of the argument that you people had. Now I'm not sure to what extent that argument went, because of course you could just say it's an argument, but then you started exchanging words and it really went out of hand. But let's say that you had a misunderstanding and then he's been avoiding your calls. See, it reveals a level of unpreparedness. This reaction of his suggests he may not be ready for a serious partnership. This could actually be showing a side of childishness on his part. Maybe somebody who is quick to anger, somebody that would withdraw at the slightest disagreement, and the interrogations are signs of immaturity and under seriousness. And to me, it is a red flag. So do not tread on that. Don't worry yourself about that. Because if this is somebody that truly loves you, they would obviously point towards what you did not say right, or looking at the possibility of getting you to their own side or making you understand their mindset regarding the topic, and will not suddenly start acting childish. So that is not something you should bother about. Again, it is a red flag. If you tolerate such, you will face worse in marriage. So to me, you should be thanking your stars for the fact that you have seen this side about him as early as it is, and it's good a thing that he's not responding, just so that this is not the right person for me. He's meant to man up and be honest about his stance and not walk away and playing childish. Right, that was it about the boyfriend. Let's get into the details of our anonymous contributor, what she said. Now, first thing, your mindset about marriage being the table and marriage not being an achievement to you. See, the wrong mindset can ruin the right opportunity. Now, calling marriage not an achievement may close a door that patience and wisdom could have opened for you. But hey, let's keep that aside. We'll get back to it. You said something that you are at a table. Now, this is so laughable, and I can get the frustration of the guy, especially if this is an intentional person, especially if this is somebody who really wanted to have a tete-a-tete with you. How can you say you are the table? The table in this sense is the bone of contention, and depending on the context, you can't be the table, sister. I want to say that you fall my hand. Please don't do this again, okay? We'll get into the details of this, but let me say this. If you say you're the table, it is just like saying that you are the relationship. So somebody is asking you, what do you bring into this relationship? And you go ahead and say, I am the relationship. See how ridiculous you sounded. So you're sounding to this guy more like a liability, with your response. But we'll get back to that, of course, subsequently. So let's talk about career over marriage. Now, this is your life, these are your choices, and it's up to you. I'm just a bit curious, and I'm not sure why you think that you cannot have a good career and a successful marriage. One does not override the other. Look around you, you will see a lot of career women who are equally doing so well in their marriages. So I'm saying that there's need for you to have a mindset that strikes a balance, because if you lean onto one, you would forgo the other. It should not be like that. There are so many women out there, like I said, they have their businesses and they're still taking care of their homes. These are women who have mastered the importance of both worlds. But of course, one will suffer at the expense of the other if wisdom is not applied. So what I'm trying to say is that yes, career is important, yes, marriage is important, but know where to strike the balance and which one is a priority to you. Just so that at the end of the day, you do not forgo one. Meanwhile, you could have had both of them and really doing well in all. Okay? So it's very important for you to apply wisdom in choosing career and marriage. The next thing, available suitors. You said that I have some 2 guys who are currently on my case, but I have really not paid attention to them. Why is that? You have the quenched desire for marriage. Why is that? Is it the fact that you have never had an exemplary couple around you? Is it that your parents' own marriages were nothing to write home about? Could it be that you're surrounded yourself with friends that have the same mindset as you? Or is it social media? Is it based off of your past trauma? Because you're meant to really sit and answer these questions, so just so that you understand where the phobia for marriage is coming from. Because there's a lot of people who say no to things, but if they really would sit and ask themselves questions, you realize that it's based off of the narrative of others or the mindset that has been pushed on to you by other people. Could it be that you've been in a relationship where you were so badly treated and you've seen marriage in that light? The thing is, you have to be honest with yourself about it. And because if you're not honest with yourself, you will not be able to fully answer where this concern or, like I said, phobia about marriage is coming from. Now let's talk about societal construct, okay? And I know that especially this part is very controversial. Why? Because most people call it societal construct. But I've said that yes, if societal construct marries with truth, then yes, we would go with it and we would push it. Now, the clock is ticking. Society is saying clock is ticking 30, 30. Is there an aspect of truth in that? Just so that we do not minimize what the society is saying and discard it for lies. Meanwhile, it is actually truth in essence. And I know this is quite controversial, but I'll say this, and this is my personal opinion about this, which to an extent could be, again, societal construct. If it is up to you, use your 20s, get married and have kids while you still can. So again, bringing the societal construct in the picture, biological clock is real. And medically speaking, women start experiencing a decline in their reproductive system from 30. Now this could sound really harsh, but then there's a whole lot of truth in this. Too many complications at that point, including menopause. Again, this is my view on this, and you can choose to take it. Except for unforeseen circumstances and life situations, please get married, have kids early. From 30, the pressure increases. From 30, the competition is tight. From 30, the suitors are very few. Make no mistakes about this. Now, this could sound like it's pressure, but again, like I said, it's truth. So while you are choosing your career over marriage, understand the implications of that. Just so that when you get to this stage, if that's a choice and it's fully yours, you would own up to it and say, yeah, I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was what I would be faced with. Just so that it does not become a pity party that you have to throw around, and then it sounds like you did not understand exactly. And that's why I said I do a mirror reflection of your case, just so that you can see it for what it truly is. Again, as far as this is concerned, it might be a societal construct, but it's a whole lot of truth wrapped inside of it. While I understand it's your choice to stay single, understand opportunities at 20 are far different from those at 40. Let me say this because, of course, it is not just coming from a counselor, it's coming from one big sister to a younger sister. It's easier to claim, I'm not interested now, that everything is, rosy, everything is pointing towards your side. At 40, the game changes. It is no longer about what we want, but what we need at that point in time. And sadly, what's available. Most single women at 40 would regret not getting married when they had the chance. They are sadly left with options of married men, or some of them would join toxic feminist movements claiming strong and independent at 40 plus, because there's no man per se to emotionally satisfy them or even sexually satisfy them. They resort to, other things to get sexual pleasure at that time. At 40, your urges are up. At 40, you start paying for sex. At 40, the tides are against you. At that time, you realize you might have missed out on a whole lot of opportunities that you had while you were much younger. Now, let me balance all of what I've said. I keep saying that it's good to get married at 20, get your kids at 20, and you can pursue whatever career you have. But on the flip side, please do not be pressured into marriage. I would expose this truth to you, but also to let you know that there's such a thing as pressure and societal timing on you. Now, this is the negative side again of the societal construct that I'm saying, that does not marry with truth, which is pressure. Okay? So I say this, don't follow the path of others, but remind yourself of who you truly are. Now, while I advise you to make hay while the sun shines, Remember, there are millions of unfulfilled and unhappy married people out there who would wish they did not succumb to societal pressure. So do not want to be part of this. I do not want you to get married, again, like we said, marrying at 30, at 40, and being happy and fulfilled far outweighs somebody who got married and at 20 and has lost their minds.
Why does a mother's love turn into a deadline? Because tradition whispers that a woman's value has an expiration date. Why do men reduce a covenant to a table? Because somewhere, marriage stopped being a bond and became a transaction of roles. And why must daughters bear the weight of timelines and expectations? Because society still measures their worth by a ring, instead of the life they choose for themselves. The truth is this: when pressure replaces patience and ego replaces respect, marriage loses its meaning.
Now, let us move from pain to possibility. And this is about that time where I propose solutions that hopefully would meet your expectations. It's not a lot of solutions I would give, because clearly one thing I see, and the major thing I see on here, is identity, purpose, and mindset. These are the things that I think have been your issue. And if you fix them, it is going to take you from just being a career woman to a career woman and a fulfilled married woman. And so the first thing I'll challenge is identity and purpose. Who are you? And what exactly do you want? Now, this is a question you are meant to answer, understand it, and regurgitate it whenever you are asked. Because only until you discover yourself, know who you are, become in tune with yourself, know yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and otherwise, can you fully understand what you need in your life. So the question of identity is really knowing who you are. So keep your name aside, keep your father's name aside, keep maybe even the achievements that you've had. Who are you? And this takes us to the next thing, which is purpose. Have you discovered your purpose? Understand something. Marriage is a tool to fulfill purpose. And because it's a tool to fulfill purpose, it means purpose is the ultimate. It means that you would be in tune with your purpose. You would need to know what it is you've been called in this life to do, so that when you are choosing somebody to spend the rest of your life with, that person would complement you as far as your purpose is concerned. You're meant to know your strengths, you're meant to know your weaknesses, you're meant to know your triggers, you're meant to know your deal breakers, you're meant to know the things that are red flags to you, so that you do not second guess yourself. So that when this question is asked about what do you bring to the table, you are not going left, right, center. You first of all bring your purpose, your identity to the table and see if it marries, with whatever it is being proposed to you. So yet again, I ask you, who are you? And if you've not been able to answer this question, which I think from your narration you haven't been, please go back to the drawing board, and that's where it begins. Only until you have fully answered this question before I would say you are ready to invite another person into your space. Next thing I propose as a solution is to question your mindset about the phobia you have for marriage. Ask yourself why you're not bothered about marriage. You should be able to ask yourself and be sure about it. I did make mention of it earlier, but let me buttress that point. The fact that it could be about the marriages you've seen around you and there's nothing to write home about. It could be a traumatic experience you've had. It could be the mindset of social media. Social media could be very, very deceptive, depending on where you are going to, who you are patronizing, the things you are listening to. And if people continuously bombard you with the idea of marriage is not necessary, marriage is not an achievement, or you don't need marriage, or you are independent, strong, and all of that, before long, you start seeing your life or yourself through the lens of those views, and you would not be able to tell where that leads you to. And so I'm saying again, question your mindset. And if the issue is a trauma you've had in the past, then I think you only just need therapy and some warm hugs and to revive, the feminine energy in you, which is very much willing to embrace a man for your life. So after you have challenged your mindset on that, so the next thing I'll propose for you to do is for you to stop ignoring suitors. Not every delay is wisdom. Sometimes it's avoidance. At least pay attention to them, hear what they have to say, listen to their mindsets, probe their intelligence, challenge them with questions just to be sure. Because again, you could be turning them down, whereas one of them is the very person that God has ordained for you to spend the rest of your life with. And you would not just get to know that by, selling a cold shoulder. You would know that only by, having a conversation with them, probing their mindset, talking to them, listening, paying attention. And it's very important. Next thing, and which is very important. Okay, so the next thing, what do you bring to the table? This is a very important question. Like I said earlier, it is very important to know the mindset of the person you're dealing with. And of course, to be sure if this is the right person you're meant to be with, because yes, it is very important. So this is not just about the anonymous sister, it is to every single woman listening to me who is looking at getting married tomorrow. You would at some point need to answer this question. So you should be able to answer the question void of emotions. Because there's a lot of you, when this question is asked, you just flare up. You just get angry. You just don't want to listen. The conversation ends there. And then you start blocking people left, right, center. But hey, if you truly know who you are, you would answer this question, like I said, void of emotions and with so much pride, with your head lifted up. And at the end of the day, this guy would be left second guessing themselves if they can actually truly manage all of these package. So look at you. You have more than just a beautiful face. You bring service. You bring help. You bring nurturing to the table. You bring a womb to carry kids. You bring purpose and vision. Plus financial stability. You bring positive values, for his children and for the marriage. You bring integrity. You bring submission, you bring respect, you bring education, and of course, you bring a spiritual backing and covering when he would need it the most for the family, and much more. You have culinary skills, you can take care of a home, you can be a shoulder for him to lean on when he needs it the most, and many more. Isn't this, or aren't these things you bring to the table? So why would you say you are the table? No, you are part of this relationship, and this is what you can possibly bring. Now, the thing is, when you are done answering this question, you turn and look at him like, can you handle all of this? Will all of these have a space in the vision that you have as the leader for this marriage or relationship that you want to engage me into? That is how you do it. So next time, don't tell me you are the table, you are no table. So you are this table. No, you are not this table. You are much more. And so please remember, but then again, it's difficult for you to answer it that way if you do not know who you are. That's the beginning and the end of the conversation. Who are you? Next thing. Once your mindset is ready for marriage, once you've fixed all of what you need to fix, balance career and marriage wisely, you should prioritize one. I always say that one would suffer, because if you don't strike a balance with wisdom, it will suffer. So while you have a career as it is right now, start looking at the side of marriage. And yes, the two can probably go together if you use wisdom. Do not quench the desire of marriage in you, because it is very, very important. The next important thing, define and live by your values, but do not have an exaggerated opinion of yourself. So yeah, because sometimes people think that they are all of what they are not. But again, build so much stamina and identity that you do not take less of who you are. I always like for us to strike that balance, just so that you don't miss out on what you truly deserve and you do not get into what does not belong to you. That balance is very, very important. Next and very important thing that you would need in not just an amorous relationship, but also relationships out there, build emotional stamina and tolerance. One disagreement should not make you quench your desire for marriage. Oh, this guy is not answering my calls, so I don't think marriage is for me. No, that guy is the guy who messed up. And this is what I'll say to especially women. All men are not the same. No, they're not. Peter messed you up. And so Peter messed you up. I am going to go to John. John messed you up. It is John and Peter. There's still Hezekiah, there's still Nebuchadnezzar, there's still John out there, who still have the masculinity, the right virtues and values it takes to groom and be in a right relationship. So don't write off men because one treated you one way or the other. Deal with each and every one of them. If I'm not in a relationship with you, it is because you do not tick my boxes. Were either a red flag, you did not meet up to my standards, I saw some things that I cannot deal with, and it does not match with my purpose. Understand, two good people are not necessarily good for each other. Because yes, you could actually meet somebody who is good, but it does not tie, he or she will not tie with your purpose. And so yeah, the journey or the search continues. So what I'm saying is, please do not write off people based off of 1, 2, 3, or many times experiences. Every other person's experience with you is unique, and please go for it. Right, so this is the most I could offer as far as solutions is concerned. And I hope not just to the anonymous contributor, but to every one of you listening to me. Hopefully, like I always say, this is your last bus stop.
This is a sharp, on-point analysis of the case, getting right to the heart of the situation. In summary, here is Delly's analysis in 5 points. Mother's pressure. Marriage timing is a parental concern, but integrity, not marital status, earns respect. Boyfriend's motives. What do you bring? Signals insecurity. Withdrawal after conflict shows immaturity. You are the table. Mindset. This view implies a lack of contribution. Relationships thrive when both partners build together. Career versus marriage. Success in both is achievable with wisdom and balance, avoiding sacrifice. Importance of biological clock. Earlier marriage and children can be beneficial due to biological factors and increasing societal pressures with age. Now here's the real question. How do we navigate a solution without breaking families, shading social constructs and family expectations, bruising the male ego, while also empowering our women with confidence? The answer is coming, and it's happening right now. Hold tight and let's ride.
But let's get into the comment section and see what some of you delicious are saying. And you know how it is. We get to select few of the comments and read out, just so I'm not the only one talking. Now, this is the first commenter. First commenter is Prophetic Favor. Hello, Prophetic Favor. How are you? Prophetic Favor says that a woman must not bring money to the table, but she can bring capacity. There are women with great ideas that if they put those ideas in the table and she and the man implement, they will produce a great result on the table. They are with some men who are rich, but they lack ideas to multiply the money. A woman with great ideas is well valued by a man. You see? Thank you so much for that insightful contribution, Prophetic Favor. I love that. Thank you so much. Next commenter, Linda Rose Jonas. Linda Rose Jonas is saying that any man who asks a woman what she brings to the table is not ready for marriage. As for your write-up, take your time and choose someone whose priorities align with yours. And don't let your mother's time frame get you trapped into something you're not ready for. Good luck. Well, yeah, I get you, Linda Rose. She's saying that if you're asking that question, you're not ready for marriage. I like for us to see it on both sides, okay? I've already said some are not ready, but some truly are, and they really want to know if you can fit the vision that they carry. Just so we have that balance there. Yeah. Third commenter, we have Norberto Fernandez. I think we've had Norberto Fernandez before now, or am I just mistaking the name for another? Fernandez, I love this. Fernandez is saying that one funny part about life is when a woman starts touching small money. Why are you calling it small money? She now thinks marriage isn't necessary, or she doesn't need a man. That's a materialistic ideology by most ladies, and it always tends to haunt them back in future. Ask yourself what legacy you keep aside than your small job you earn from. What if the job isn't there tomorrow? What moral values are you passing on to the younger ones? Only a materialistic and a greedy person conceive such thoughts. Fernandez, that was a bit too harsh though. But again, there's some truth to this. Women, when they start having money, they feel like, I don't need a man because I can have it, or I can do it, or I hope this is not the kind of mindset you have. So Fernandez is just cautioning, just so that you do not cry at some point because you had the wrong mindset about relationships and marriage. The next thing, hello commenter Kwam Eunice Chu. Kwam Eunice Chu is saying that just for the fact that a woman is capable of bringing another soul into the world, that is already a great contribution to the family. Do you know how many mortality rate is recorded each year? What do women bring to the table? Eunice, I hear the pain in your voice. I hear you. I know you want to just punch your screen right now. But she has touched on an aspect which is very important. Women carry other humans in their system, and like I said in the previous episode, men will never understand pregnancy for what it truly is. And so if that is about the only thing you bring to the table, you still bring so much to the table, just so that we will not discard pregnancy and all of what it entails to feel like it's nothing, like, oh, that's all you bring. No, that's something, and very much so. Okay, that's what Eunice is saying, and of course I support that motion with 30 gun salutes. Okay. This is the most we could get for the comment section, okay? I know that loads of you have comments. Of course, we select just 4 of them, but there's so many comments. Keep commenting, keep bringing your views, and of course, next time, you just might be the next person to feature on the comment section of our show.
With MoneyFX, sending money home just got faster. Enjoy top exchange rates, low fees, and transfers that land in under 10 minutes. Whether it's school fees in Cameroon, hospital bills in Nigeria, or family support in Ghana, MoneyFX makes every transfer count. MoneyFX, fast money transfer when it matters most.
Now, that time where we get into the nuggets, yummy nuggets. So I love me my nuggets, and these are my final thoughts about this. Now, today's nugget, we are going to be answering the very controversial stance or question about, is marriage an achievement? Now, is marriage an achievement? It raises the question about nature and value of marriage. It invites discussions on whether marriage should be viewed as a personal accomplishment, a social milestone, or just something more conventional. Here are a few interpretations. Now, we start first, personal growth. Some may see marriage as an achievement because it often involves personal development, commitment, and overcoming challenges in a relationship. Well, others can see it through the lens of cultural expectations. Now, in many societies, especially the society that we come from, marriage is considered a significant life goal or a milestone, similar to graduating or, starting a career. This can lead people to regard it as an achievement. Again, differences in perspectives. Others might argue that marriage is not an achievement, and so, it should not be seen as an achievement in itself, but rather as partnership and choices that individuals make for various reasons. Now, varied definitions. The meaning can change depending on personal beliefs, cultural backgrounds, and individual paths. Now, let me say this. Is marriage an achievement? And I'll answer this as a personal view and a personal conviction and a personal understanding. Now, on social media and every home, at some point you must have come across this particular question. Guess what? While there's a whole lot of subjective responses, of course, that I've talked about at the beginning, I want us to objectively look at it. So this is my view. I would say yes. I am convinced marriage is an important and an enormous achievement. Why do I say so? Let us start with the definition of what an achievement is. So we'll look at the word achievement. what it means. Now, the Oxford English Dictionary defines achievement as a thing done successfully, with effort, with skill and courage. Now, take that again. A thing done successfully, one, with effort, skills and courage. Successfully, meaning you cannot claim marriage is not an achievement as a single person. Meaning you must have been married to properly and objectively respond to this question. Yes, it is one thing to see marriage as a single person as a goal, look at marriage as something that you desire, but for it to be an achievement, it must have been done successfully. That is why I exclude single person from the institution of marriage being an achievement. Now, the success of marriage will depend on, again, dictionary definition, effort, meaning there's determination. It matters a great deal. You must have put in the effort, you must be determined, meaning both parties put in the work and get desirable results. So one, effort. The next thing that would lead to a successful marriage for you to say it is an achievement, skills. Skills in marriage, yes. Marriage requires enormous skills. Now notice, effective communication, mutual respect, love, submission, sacrifice, commitment. These are skills to be had in marriage, meaning that you don't just go there and you think it is just going to work based off of I am in marriage or I did a wedding. No. This is the reason why it is failing and why it cannot be an achievement for some people even though they got married. Now, the last thing which that definition would need is courage. Yes, marriage has enormous challenges that will require only a very few and courageous to delve into it, and it is these challenges that make the beauty of marriage. So yet again, is marriage an achievement? Going by the above definition, marriage is not just an achievement, but it's such an enormous one. Such a beautiful institution ordained by God for mankind to flourish. Is it the only achievement out there? Of course not. There are so many other things we consider as achievements. Now, if you are not married, does it mean you have not achieved anything? No. I take for instance priests and nuns. They don't get married, but they are in purpose. I've said already, marriage is a tool to fulfill purpose. So if there's an ultimate, the ultimate should be your purpose on earth. So that people who don't get married should feel fulfilled, should feel accomplished, should know that they have achieved other and so many other things. But marriage in itself is such an achievement that is worth having it. But then again, as long as it is successful, done with skills, with effort and with courage, then yes, it is an achievement. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is where we draw our curtains for today on today's episode of Hello Delly. Remember, as we conclude, that everyone has their own unique story. Your experiences, your wisdom and your questions enrich our show. If this episode resonated with you, please like, share and subscribe to help us reach more persons. If you have a story, a dilemma, a trial to share, please do not hesitate to send your cases to us. Your privacy is paramount and your story could guide others. Together, we find the healing and clarity that we all desire. Thank you for being part of our delicious family, and until next time, stay blessed and shine your light. This is your intentional host, Delly Singah. I love you so much and God bless.
Hello, hello, hello.